I am going live on the other stream. We are live on the other stream.
Excuse me. Hello again.
Hello and welcome to episode 4, Takedown, or at least Laughter and Science Discussion of 911. This is part of the CosmoQuest After Hours being filmed at an unusual time due to interruptions of our Friday afternoon. Uh, Ally was substitute teaching, and I
Yes.
was finishing proofreading a book that was due Friday, and I got it in just under the wire. So
Good
life was
job.
good.
Yeah. I was substitute teaching high school freshman chemistry.
Ooh, were there any
Yes.
experiments that took place?
No, thank goodness. Like the freshmen, mostly are just doing like on paper stuff, all
Fair.
the like math
Okay.
equations and whatnot. But they're doing it in like a full chemistry lab because this is a prep school. And so I get a lot of kids being like, well, what happens if I pull that handle?
Oh no,
And I'm like, you
don't
get to come
do
with me
that.
to the physical plant department and explain why the chemistry lab is flooded. I'm not going to explain it. You get to. Um, so
That is fair. That is
stu
completely fair.
stuff like that, because it's like 14-year-olds in a chemistry lab. Or there'll be a lot of stop fiddling with the gas connection. There was one time one of them got the Flint striker for a Bunsen burner and was just like, and uh, like was playing with it next to the person who was fiddling with the gas connection, and I'm like,
So, this is your friendly reminder that all of us here at CosmoQuest have to work more than one job, but we'd
yes,
much rather this was our full-time job.
yes, I would love for this to be my full-time job instead of getting new gray hairs from substitute teaching
Yeah.
14-year-olds.
Yeah, and the third member of our hosting team is a government employee and is about to be furloughed. So times are tough. He was
Yes.
lucky enough to work for an agency that had a state contract. So
Yep.
if you want to support us and you want to see more science, you can join our Patreon where you will get all the content. Patreon.com/CosmoQuestX. Or make a one-time donation at cqx-fy26.org. We will have all of those links in the uh, in the links
Respective
below.
chats.
Yeah, in the
Yes.
respective chats.
Because we're going out on YouTube and Twitch.
Yes, yes. So this is episode 4 of 911, the main series set in Los Angeles. It has started with a billionaire being eaten by a whale and promptly, with some help, spit out. This is actually real science. Whales do occasionally munch and then spit out people. It's a thing.
The most accurate thing on the show.
It's true. It's true.
It's like the one piece of scientific accuracy.
And then
And
he
then it's just all
downhill.
downhill with your hair on fire from there. Uh,
So tech billionaire who owns his own aerospace company launches his the person who did life support that brought him back. She takes her best friend, so you now have two women launched to space on a capsule that has a fire. That was episode 3. Go
wait,
back and
let's
watch that.
yes, the rest of the people
Yes.
on the capsule are like the billionaire's girlfriend,
Yeah.
who's like a new agey health pseudoscience person.
And yoga
Um,
certified.
yes, yoga certified. Um, I say that mockingly, but I do love my yoga.
Yeah.
It's nice for stretching. I'm not all into the woo part though.
Yeah, she's very much
Um,
into astrology.
yes. Or,
This becomes
uh,
relevant.
yes, it does. It does. Oh God. Let's see. So there's her. There's this like baby face 20 something startup guy.
Yeah.
who goes through it. And then there's a former astronaut who was supposed to be on Apollo 18 but wasn't.
because it didn't. It never
Yeah,
launched. It was the
yeah,
program was
didn't.
canceled. So he's gone through all the NASA training in the world. Um, Thank you for the
Fun
follow,
fact.
Lone Wolf.
Oh,
Thank you for the
thank
follow.
you. Fun fact, if you visit the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville, Alabama, you can actually see Apollo 18.
Oh,
Um,
that's
that's
cool.
that's the Saturn V that's on display in
That
Huntsville.
makes sense. That
hmm
makes sense.
It's a full Saturn V rocket. It's so cool. They've got it in this big building, and they have it laid out in stages, and you can walk under it, and you can walk the whole length of it. And it's really, really neat. I've done it multiple times. Highly recommend that if you ever find yourself in Huntsville for some reason.
Yeah, and they
Um,
occasionally throw fundraisers and big public events where you're hanging out socializing under the Saturn V. I just need to say that is the coolest venue. Um
yes,
yeah,
yes, I have I've gotten to go to one of those before and
really.
get all like in a fancy dress sipping champagne under a Saturn V rocket. It's very cool.
That's amazing. That's
Um,
absolutely amazing.
but yeah, highly recommend visiting the U.S. Space and Rocket Center if you ever get a chance.
Okay.
Um,
So,
so
we have Space and Rocket Center, Chaos. No, we don't. We have Space Center Chaos as the billionaire who owns this capsule is like, we've lost all contact with them. Its orbit has changed, and he starts talking like they're dead.
yeah, yeah, he's just like whatever. Like I guess he just decides like this is gonna be bad publicity either way, so they're dead, you
Yeah.
know. But spoilers, they're not dead.
No. No.
Um,
And
they
and
they are on the International Space Station at this point. But again, there were only two astronauts. There are always
and
more
one
than two.
Soyuz, but no Russian astronaut unless that's the one that was dead.
No, no, they were both American.
That's what they're yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't had a chance to actually look it up. Like the Soyuz capsule that they use later in this episode, it's like it's an old one that's there for like emergency purposes. Like that's
So they don't actually keep a spare. What ends up happening is
Mhm.
you have the crew that launches on the Soyuz, which includes an American, I think still, but maybe not. And then you have the crew that launches on Crew Dragon, which I believe includes a Soviet, not Soviet, a Russian. Um, and and this is just like how we balance everything out to keep the peace via space. Um, and so normally you will have this brief window of time where there's three things docked, either two Soyuz or two Dragon, because you bring in the new crew, make sure everything's good, and then
Mhm.
remove the old crew. And somehow they don't have a fully crewed ISS. They just have
Yeah, they just have two people.
and that doesn't even make any sense
Yeah,
because
it's not the first time a 911 show's done this. Like one
yeah,
of the other spin-offs, Lone Star, there's three 911, or there were three. One went off the air, but anyway, yes, there are more of these that keep multiplying. Um, they had there was a storyline involving the ISS and a geomagnetic storm in that one too. Not
jeez.
quite to this scale. But in that one, there was only one astronaut on the ISS, and it's like, so they've upgraded. They have two now.
So they're saying that the Soyuz has the capacity for four, but there's only two astronauts, and the Soyuz actually carries three.
Mhm.
Just saying. So they get there and they see dead astronaut floating around, freak out a little bit. Actually, didn't they also get hit by an astronaut? Were there two astronauts on spacewalk, or did
No,
they get
there
hit
was
by the one?
one. They get hit by a dead astronaut body.
Okay, but So they got hit by the one that's also out by the arm that they have to retrieve the piece from. Oh my. It's a very conveniently located dead body.
Yes, yes. On the diagonal says this feels like Baywatch nights with a bigger budget.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, that's it. You
Yeah.
understand.
And
Except my problem is that I see that and I'm like, yes, give me more. And other people are like, what is wrong with you?
well, so there's just so much wrong at this point because as they're hand guiding themselves toward the ISS that they have somehow gotten to in less than 100 minutes and had to go up, even though they're on a 100-minute orbit, which implies they're already at a higher altitude than ISS, which has a 90-minute orbit. I'm being shushed as I
No,
deserve.
no, 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 no. That
Oh,
was Ian, Ian was saying my problem,
oh,
only one. And I'm like, hush.
okay.
We know I have many for the purpose of the stream. Yes, only one.
So, so
Follow me on social media for more of my problems.
So the old guy astronaut has what looks like someone crossbred the tablets from Star Wars and an iPad um, that he's using that has the line that he has to follow for the orbital maneuver, and he's hand pitch yaw and rolling with thrusters the capsule to get it up close to the ISS in a very short amount of time that wouldn't work for a normal Leo, but somehow they're, yeah, don't try and understand what's going on.
Yeah, at this point, it's just like, just brain off.
And as they're approaching, they were hoping that they'd be able to communicate with the ISS. They can no longer communicate with the other satellites, which were somehow at a higher orbit than Rich Tycoon's communication satellites that deorbited, but are significantly lower than the ISS, which is in Leo. And as they approach the ISS, they can't communicate with it. And one of the doors on the airlock has been left open. So they decide to match their orbit with the ISS, tie together a bunch of tethers they have. I don't know why. I don't even know why they all have spacesuits, but they do. And somehow the spacesuits fit, which is weird because people are different sizes. And somehow they could put on all the spacesuits without any training quickly. Anyways, carrying on. They get to the airlock. They're somehow all four of them? Old guy, young guy. No, five of them.
Five of them.
Five of them are all able to fit into the airlock, close the airlock. They are running out of oxygen and apparently just instantaneously can pressurize that airlock. And then they are in the ISS almost instantaneously and completely out of their spacesuits almost instantaneously and begin to explore. And somehow blood is dripping without gravity because it hits Hen in the forehead and she looks
Oh my God, I
up.
forgot about that. I forgot
Yeah,
about that. Oh my God, yes, it does. It goes bloop instead of, being like blobs. It would be like little spherical blobs just like floating because that's what liquid does in space.
it goes towards the air vents, the
Yeah.
intake side of the
Yeah,
air
like
vent.
I don't know when Chris Hadfield was in space was on the ISS
Hmm.
and would do all his fun like social media stuff. Like I remember him doing one thing where he like wrung out a dish rag
Yeah, yeah.
to show what like fluid dynamics look like in microgravity. And so it's just like on the diagonal says like Star Trek 6. Yes, yes, the purplish pink Klingon
Yeah,
blood
yeah.
going bloop.
So the physics of that was much better than the CGI of that. Um, they got the physics right. It just rendered badly, but it was earlier in the history of CGI. Anyways, so they find the one astronaut on the ISS, and she has been injured, and she's in terrible shape, and she has a collapsed lung, and of course they're paramedics, and somehow they know how to find the medical kit on the ISS, which is a train wreck of chaos, such that someone lost a baggie of tomatoes for
Yeah,
like 6 months.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like the first thing I noticed about the ISS on
Yeah.
911 is how like
Clean.
pristine
Yeah.
it looks, how clean and organized. And it's like if you look at like actual footage from the ISS, it's cluttered. Every single like bulkhead
Surface.
is covered in things, and there's stuff floating everywhere. Everyone's in really tight quarters. You don't change clothes a lot, so everyone's kind of stanky.
And you can't
Um,
shower, you just sponge bath up there.
yeah, I think astronauts have said it smells like wet, dirty socks all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So, and it's not, and also the ISS is old. Like it's pretty old
It's
now.
1990s technology.
Yeah, so it's a little worn around the edges. It's not like super clean. It doesn't look like, pristine, like it doesn't look like an Apple store.
That's the best example.
Um like
Yeah.
like it does on 911. And that's what I for me, that was the thing that just like completely like bugged my brain is this I'm just like the ISS doesn't look like that.
Oh, and I have to point out their
Not at all.
spacesuits had a Bluetooth connection to their capsule that answered questions without having to invoke, hey, robot name. It just answered questions. And that's not how AI works, thank
To be
God.
fair, my Apple HomePod does that sometimes.
It just
I
randomly
will
answers
I won't
questions.
I won't say, "Hey Siri," if I'll ask my wife a question, and then my HomePod like starts glowing, and it's nice like British man voice that we have it set to. It's like, "Let me look that up for you. One
Oh
moment."
no.
Yeah, it's really
Okay.
I
Okay.
dropped something in the bathroom one morning and my HomePod was like, now playing Janelle Monáe. And I'm like, I didn't,
Yeah. I have learned I can't ask about the weather when half asleep because there's apparently a song named The Weather. And if I phrase the words wrong, I get the song, which I don't like, instead of the weather. But that's not related to this episode of 911. So
yes.
we now have our humans on the ISS with an injured human who somehow has a collapsed lung and a not profusely bleeding head wound, which in the storyline down on the surface of Earth, they have someone who has a really bad head wound, and they're talking about how hard it is to stop it bleeding and how profusely head wounds bleed. And
And
they
they're trying to
actually,
figure out how to like, they can't stitch it, so
and they don't have glue.
they do like cornrow braiding
Yeah,
to
they do
glue
a
it together.
super tight cornrow braid to hold the wound together, which I think is my favorite. That could work, but oh my God, the infections that I've ever seen. Um, Doing this to a white lady brought me joy. But again, that's so unsanitary. Hair just like holds so much junk in it and inevitably has chemicals in it. You don't want hair next to a wound, but all right, this is how they
Yeah,
held it
yeah.
closed.
Well, it's also like in this episode, talking about inconsistencies, like going back to episode one, you see the astronaut get like hit by space debris, and all it does is like slam him up against
Bulkheads.
the bulkhead really
Yeah.
hard, when in real life it would just punch through him because it's going so fast. It'd be
Yeah.
really nasty.
Yeah.
But then in this episode, when Angela Bassett is about to go on her spacewalk, which we will go into in a second, um, they're like, oh, be careful. If you get hit by space debris, it's gonna like, take your arm off or whatever. And
Right.
it's like that's true. That is what getting hit by space debris would do. But like you you established earlier that it wouldn't, and it's just kind of like, but I don't know. This is a Ryan Murphy show, and I feel like if you know anything about Ryan Murphy,
He
all of
did
this makes
Glee,
sense.
he did Pose.
American
Um,
Horror Story. Pose is really good though.
yeah.
Like Pose is like his one really, really good show.
But he does a lot
Um,
of scenery chewing with his actors. And sometimes that make with drag queens, scenery chewing is on point. Yeah. Anyways, I love Ryan Murphy stuff. There's a lot of scenery chewing. And so we have astronaut with head wound that isn't bleeding profusely compared to what we've just learned about head wounds on the planet. Um, there's no bubble of blood attached to her head, which is what you would actually
yeah, it
have.
would like right it wouldn't like, float out, but it would just kind of all like pool right
It
here.
it would literally form a bubble.
It'd just be
And
like bloop.
and
Um,
and then uh they like fix her uh lung and everything's fine.
yeah, yeah.
Um but they
We're
have
just gonna gloss over how like first aid would actually work in
yeah.
space.
Yeah.
Um,
And and so they're talking about they're all going to ride the Soyuz capsule back to Earth, but its docking ring got damaged in a collision, and for some reason they have to use the arm to like shake it free. I didn't understand
yeah,
the
I lost that too. Yeah, they have to like use the arm.
yeah,
It's not the
Dexter.
Canada. Yeah,
No, it's Dexter is what they called it.
showing my age because I'm just like Canada arm. No, not
Well,
Canada arm.
it's made by Canada. So,
Yeah.
um
Anyway, so they have to use the arm to shake free, but the arm is broken. And so
yeah.
Angela Bassett's character has to do a spacewalk.
And she wasn't the one who was originally going to do it. So the ridiculousness we have here is the old guy who's trained to do a spacewalk has to operate the arm. So he can't do it. That actually is kind of fair. The very injured but doesn't appear to be astronaut can't do it because injured, but she also can't work the arm. But yeah, I'm not going to. Okay. So Hen is going to do it. And while Hen is discussing things, the Angela Bassett character just suits up in a NASA spacesuit because it's determined it will survive better.
Yeah,
Yes.
but yes, which by the way, it takes more than one person to put a person in a NASA EVA suit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like you have to have help dressing yourself in that. You cannot
You can't
just
reach
put
your
it on
body
yourself.
parts once you have your arms on. And
Yeah.
you can't reach your feet once you put the legs on. And there's an order to these things. And somehow they had a spacesuit just right there that would fit her perfectly. There've been issues on the space station where like certain people couldn't do spacewalks because they didn't have suits the correct size. This is a problem. Anyways,
It's like
Angela,
I'm too short. I'm
yeah,
my 5'1" self, they're like I wouldn't be able to
yeah.
fit in
You
any
could
of the
have flown
spaces.
on Mercury, but
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm like perfect size for Mercury.
so the Angela Bassett character is now going to do a spacewalk. And this is
Yes.
where the next MacGuffin they have is for some reason the debris from the geomagnetic storm is in one place. And they pass through that once per orbit, which so
I
So what happens when you destroy like a single large spacecraft is the energy there's conservation of kinetic there's conservation of momentum and energy that takes place. So you hit it with a certain amount of energy that goes into destruction and sending the thing apart. And conservation of momentum means that if you have a piece going this way, you have a piece going this way, you have a piece going this way, you have a piece going this way. So you now have an expanding cloud of debris that has the combined velocity of the object that was originally moving, the kinetic energy of the impact, and the momentum of the impactor. So you're taking the original momentum, you're taking the impactor's momentum, and you're conserving all of that and creating an expanding moving cloud that has an orbit. And we have had issues where something on an orbit at an angle to the International Space Station created a cloud of particles that would be intersected on a regular basis. But
Mhm.
it doesn't work like that when you have not just one satellite, but an entire side of the planet's satellites. So all those things would be on so many different orbits that they are constantly getting bombarded, not just every few minutes for a temporary window.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
understand too much about conservation of momentum, and it made me sad.
It's okay. I know enough to like I'm just like I'm gonna turn my brain off. I'm just gonna turn my brain off. This is terrible. I'm just along for the ride.
So,
But
as they're approaching the debris stream, Angela Bassett's character is chewing up the outside scenery.
yes, yes, because Angela Bassett and God bless her never phones it in ever. Just can hand her the most ridiculous material, and she's like, "Nope, I have a BF or an MFA in acting from Yale. I am not going to phone this in."
No.
Uh, so she just does her Angela Bassett thing, but in space.
So, she is apparently tethered, but you don't really see the tether. And she's going from handhold to handhold, trying to get to the dead astronaut who was already outside to repair the arm
And apparently has the special tool you need to repair the arm
and the piece she needs. There's a
in the
pin that
piece.
has to be
Yes,
replaced, just one
yes.
pin. And so she has to she decides she's going to untether herself in order to get to the guy because her tether is tangled and she can't get to the guy. And everyone on the ISS is correctly saying, "Go back and untangle your um untangle your tether." And she decides to just unclip the carabiner instead.
Yep. Which, oh my God, the carabiner annoyed me so much
Why?
because it was because it was like a carabiner you get for like clipping your water bottle to something,
That's
but
true.
like a bigger one. Because I used to do rock climbing when I was in Girl Scouts, and like rock climbing carabiners, like proper carabiners, have have
Screws.
like a screw on
Yeah,
them to that secures them so they can't come undone.
right, right.
And I honestly don't know what the mechanism is with the tethers on the ISS.
I am
Like I
now
will say, like
Googling.
yeah. So we will know in a second. But I imagine they're more than like a large store-bought like
Yeah,
carabiner that you would use to like hook your water bottle onto a bag.
yeah. So, so, um, we have them, we have Angela Bassett's character spacewalking, and she has been hit by a piece of debris, and all it did was slam her into the wall, which of course broke her respirator system.
Yep. So now she's running out of oxygen because, it's like, it's not a space drama. right? Without like someone running out of oxygen.
Right.
You always have to have that, right? Like you
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah. And of course this leads to wild flashbacks that
Yeah, we get like flashbacks from like her early days as a police officer. We're not going to go into all of that because it's like very like, and it's gonna sound funny to me, but in out of everything going on in this episode, that was like the most like ridiculous and overwrought stuff. I
yeah.
was like, please go back to the space stuff. Please go back to the wacky space stuff. So she's having all these like oxygen deprivation flashbacks to like moments in her life.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just problematic. And so she is like semi blacking out while replacing the pen and manages to complete the job and make it all the way back somehow with severe oxygen deprivation. And I've heard of like divers pulling this off,
Hmm.
but they're usually trained and used to working in these kinds of terrible things.
Yes. Yeah. That's like part of their training. Yeah. Trillian asks, is the AI voice counting down how much oxygen she has left? No, it's not, and that would have been
That would have been
funny.
so cool.
Like that would have just been like, "Mwah."
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, they don't have that. And I've now found pictures that you can zoom in and you can see the tethers that they use on the ISS. And I'm going to drop this into the live chat and I will add it to the YouTube video description. And these tethers are not carabiners, they're something specific to the
yeah,
spacesuits.
and that's what I figured
Yeah.
because like you wouldn't just have like some like $5 carabiner like holding you to a tether in the middle of space.
Mm hmm. Mm hmm.
You wouldn't. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So she manages to get back. They now have control of the arm. They decide they're going to strip down in rapid fire the insides of the Soyuz, and somehow they have all the tools to do that. And uh
Oh my God. Oh my God. This is the part where like I lost my mind because anyone who knows me knows that it's like my space tech special interest is like old Soviet space
yeah.
technology. So Soyuz capsules are really awesome. And I'm like, that is not what the inside of a Soyuz capsule looks
No,
like. Like it's like
no.
four seats like an airplane, right?
Yeah.
On the show. And I'm just like, that's not what they look like.
No,
That's not what they look
it's
like.
like the Soyuz was a crossbreed between a Dragon capsule and someone's imagination. And they just called it a Soyuz because they assume Americans don't know what those look like.
Yeah.
Even
Like
though they were in like Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, like the actual interior of a Soyuz capsule, it's like it seats three people
Yeah.
and you're like crammed in there. Like there's a reason why when they land, like they like people have to come like literally like pry them out of the capsule because there's like just not a lot of space in there.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they're in there and they're talking about we need to drop the weight on this so that it can handle the weight of the extra human. Um, and the wild thing about this is you have like crunchy old guy who I loved, by the way.
He was a lot of fun and that actor was just selling it.
Yeah, yeah, he
Was
did.
just selling it. Like he was saying some pretty ridiculous things, but I'm like, you know what? Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
let's do that. Like,
He was by far my favorite person in that episode. And crunchy old guy is like, we can remove this backup system, we can remove this backup system, and the young tech genius who keeps somehow not dying is like, but don't we need that? And old guy is like, well, do you? This is our only chance of getting back. And so, as a reminder, we have 5 people from the not usable to return to Earth capsule because it lost its nose piece that wasn't on a hinge for some reason. We have one US astronaut and one Soyuz that is somehow designed to carry four. So we have
Yeah.
six people in a capsule designed for four. And the next thing they said broke my brain.
What was it, Pamela? What was it?
They said that they had to keep the astronaut on a flat lounge next to the Angela Bassett character so that they could treat her collapsed lung while descending and pulling multiple G's, which they don't mention, um, to maintain equilibrium pressure in her lung so it doesn't collapse again. And there's absolutely no way that, like, you could do that in real time. And they have already shown that the way they reinflated her lung was to stab a needle in and then withdraw it. And that is accurate.
Yeah.
They often will put a hose in that equalizes the pressure in the lung and outside of the lung and leave the hose.
Yeah, because usually, like, not to get too graphic, but like when a lung collapses, it's because there's air in the chest cavity around it that really like
Yeah.
smushes it.
Yeah.
And so you have to get that air out to reinflate the lung.
Yeah.
Because the way your lungs inflate and deflate is your diaphragm pulls down and creates this vacuum in your chest cavity that
Yeah.
inflates and deflates your lungs.
So I really do not understand how they thought that could be a thing, but
Yeah, I'm at that point I was just like, I don't have time to tell y'all how wrong you are.
right, right. And of course, I don't remember who it was that flagged this. Is like, but there's only room for five. And the old guy who I really liked is like, I'm going to stay behind. Someone has to take care of the robot arm. So they have to use the robot arm to yank the Soyuz that has a broken attachment valve off the side of the ISS, which the force the arm can exert would not be
No,
sufficient.
they
But
just
we're
kind of go boop, like just
so I mean, it could be the ISS survives going through repeated debris clouds, but anyways. And in the process of like pulling stuff out of the Soyuz, you have everyone involved and the tech billionaire aerospace company owning dude's fiance who is very woo and has mentioned her astrological sign multiple times, but has proven useful in doing yoga breathing techniques to prevent people from hyperventilating. So points to her. And she's always up to the challenge, points to her.
Yeah, I know. I kind of ended up liking her towards
Yeah.
the end because she's just very unflappable and
Yeah.
like, and always focused on like calming other people down. Like she's weirdly sweet. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, you're odd and you got some really weird ideas about things, but oh, you're nice and you're actually being helpful and like, because I don't know, I kind of like
Yeah.
that she was
Yeah.
like,
She
I'm just gonna
redeemed
take us.
herself.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to let the experts do their expert things and I will help where I can. Like, I'm just like, okay, yeah, you're a good team player.
Yeah, and so she starts to rant about how she thinks she has to break up with tech billionaire because she has realized that he wasn't just awful at running the company, he was just an awful person. And it's like, yes. And one of the examples that she gives is they've been together all this time and he can't remember her astrological sign. And young boy genius is like, it's Gemini. And she's like, how did you know? And he's like, you mentioned it several times during training. And you can see that suddenly boy
They're having this
genius, it's a
connection.
cute meet. It's totally a cute meet.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Meet
it
cute. I
was
said it
me
backwards.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it was just really like it was adorable. It's
Eh,
like, oh, he pays attention to her. And it's kind of like it's like what she said was ridiculous, but
uh-huh.
also I'm just like, no, girl has a point. It's like,
Mhm.
yes, astrology is very ridiculous, but obviously it's very important to her.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
guy who's dating her should
Yeah.
be paying attention to the things that interest her.
Yeah.
That's a good lesson for everyone. Like, take interest in your partner's interests.
Yeah, even if they are not your interests,
Yeah,
just
just
yeah. So they now do the we're going to disattach ourselves from the ISS, and you see crunchy old guy looking like the hero he is as they depart and fly away and begin their reentry at just whatever random point in orbit they happen to be at. So there is a completely thoughtless deorbit process that occurs without like paying attention. And they go straight from the ISS to going through the atmosphere immediately.
I know it's just like straight down. And the thing is, it's like if you re-enter the Earth's atmosphere that fast, you splat like human goo.
And somehow, this I couldn't understand. The folks down on the ground are able to know, despite there not being any communications, they're able to like somehow track the capsule departing from the ISS. So I don't know if like communications is down, but telemetry isn't. They don't go into that. They just like
Yeah.
somehow know. And it could be that they're like relying on data from Leo Labs. Like we can actually see the ISS and capsules and we can see when something disengages. We can see all that. It's big.
Yeah. No, more science hand waving than a 90s space opera.
Yeah. Yeah. And so as they're coming down, um, they're like the parachutes deploy and everything, and you hear them be like, it's not over. They're going to hit the ground with the force of a car crash.
With like a head-on collision, and I'm like, a head-on collision of what?
Yeah.
Going how fast? Like,
And so you see them hitting the ground, and there's a moment of fire for Lord knows what reason as they hit the dirt. And that's not a thing, people. That's not a thing. And I guess we have to watch the next episode to figure out more than did they make it to Earth okay.
yeah,
Actually, no, we did have a final scene of them on the Earth, didn't we?
yeah, they all like come home and are like reunited with their families,
Yeah.
and it's like it's like Athena, Angela Bassett's character, like learns an important lesson about like letting her family be there for her and not getting wrapped up in her grief and then you get like a very cute moment between Hen and her rocket scientist wife, which I was enjoying like them having like drama that wasn't around like domestic stuff
Yeah.
because like the entire series, like Hen and Karen have always like had a lot of drama around like adopting their kids and like exes showing up and stuff, and it's just kind of like I was like, I get it, but it's like I don't know. I want to see them have like external drama, and this season has like handed me that on a silver platter. Uh,
And my favorite part is you see the now former fiance yoga instructor, stunning blonde,
oh
who's
yeah, she shows up in like
a
just
revenge dress,
yes, it was a revenge dress. It was like right up there with Princess Diana's revenge dress,
just in
like
red.
yeah, and she shows up in this like stunning dress and like, 4-inch stiletto heels, towering over a billionaire guy, and like dumps him, hands him back his big old engagement ring and dumps him and walks off with startup dude who's much younger than her and
Yes.
like a whole head and shoulders shorter than her.
Yes.
And I'm
It's
just like,
adorable. The
it's like,
nerd got the woman.
yeah, by like being sweet and kind and paying attention to her.
And did you catch how they, in so many ways, it was a homage to Boltar and Number Six from the more recent
Oh,
Battlestar Galactica?
oh, it was. It was, except for Startup Guy's a lot nicer than
Oh
Beltar.
yeah, oh yeah. But
Um,
like
don't
the
like it.
ratios, the looks,
Oh yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah. Oh, you're right. Oh my
The
God, that's
costuming was totally
amazing.
an homage. It was wonderful.
Guido says the show seems to be 20-30% soap opera, but I guess you have to do it to cover all markets. Okay,
Yeah,
it is a soap opera. It's a primetime soap opera about first responders.
yeah.
And I love soap operas as much as I love action movies and science fiction and whatnot. And I don't know.
It
I
it
don't, I don't
was
see it as separate markets.
it was truly delightful. And I don't know if we're going to be back with any more science that's space related from episode 5.
No, episode five's their Halloween episode. They do a
Okay,
Halloween episode every year, and it's, belated, but it's their Halloween episode.
that's fair.
Yeah, their Halloween episodes are always really fun. Like there was one where like one of the firefighters, Buck, bought like a fake corpse for the haunted house that turned out to be a real mummified corpse.
That's
And
a
there was
thing that happens, by the way.
I know. And then they had to answer a call where like someone got a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin stuck on their head.
I love that. I love that for
You
them.
know, Midtown says my soaps are wrestling and I do not apologize for it. And you
And that's
shouldn't
okay.
apologize for it. Like wrestling's not my thing, but it is fun to watch.
Yeah.
I do enjoy watching it with my friends. Um on the diagonal says in the absence of an episode, there's always Moonfall.
Is
We
that a
should do
movie?
Moonfall. Yeah.
Okay. So
We
we're
should do Moonfall. Like on the diagonal, you're like probably about the third person who's recommended we do Moonfall.
it is on Amazon Prime.
Okay. I think
So,
I still have my Prime subscription.
yeah, we will figure this out.
Yeah.
And so up next will be Moonfall, it sounds like.
Also, I have a question because I saw you, Pamela, mention in chat that Blue Origin cooked an alligator on Thursday. Was that confirmed? Did it actually cook the alligator?
So what is known is during the test fire of the New Glenn Blue Origin rocket last week, there was an alligator in the water deluge system that
Mhm.
absolutely refused to leave. They turned on the sirens, they did all sorts of stuff. It would not leave. And after sharing that amount of information, they did a very brief firing of the engines and then aborted it. And we heard no more about the alligator. And so the discussion that we were having in Rocket Chat is whether or not it was fried, poached, or steamed. So it definitely did not survive that. But the question is, given that it was a mix of flame and water all hitting the alligator at once as they filled the deluge pit with water to stop the acoustic energy from destroying the launch pad,
Mhm.
what was its fate? Um, so yeah, the alligator had a very bad day. And then after some period of time that I don't remember, they did do a complete test of the engines. They actually did it for much longer than they did on the last first firing and first launch. It looks like they're going to aim to recover this. Launch will be next week. We will do a watch party as long as there isn't some like I'm not assaulted by a telecon I can't get out of. Those sometimes happen.
Which, yeah, surprise telecons
Yeah, yeah,
have a habit of just popping up over here.
it's true. It's
Yeah.
true.
It's like you'll think your day is free and then it's like, hi.
Yeah. And this was not the first accidental death of an animal. My favorite is the space shuttle frog. There's a image of just this silhouetted frog flying away during a space shuttle launch, and there was a bat that they couldn't get off of one of the external tanks on the space shuttle. It just refused. And so thinking was the bat was already in rough shape or dead. Um, but they do try as best they can to scare
Yeah.
animals away. The
And the thing
frog
is,
was an accident.
most animals that live around launch pads will clear out on their own before a launch. Like
Yeah,
they
it's
know,
loud.
and they leave and then they come back after the launch. So it's usually not a problem except for like the occasional very stubborn creature.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm over here like, oh no, poor alligator, like I have not, eaten alligators before.
same,
So
same.
um
Do
we
recommend. They're tasty predators. I normally would never eat a predator.
yeah,
Just
but
just
alligator tail,
somehow tastes very good. I'm not going
yep.
to question these things. All right. So up next, we will be watching before next Friday. Moonfall. We should have planetary scientist and astronomy educator Amy Milner joining us to talk about teaching kids science and to observe the sky. Um, we are nearing having a operational telescope, and honestly, there are too many things for me to hold in my head that are coming up. The best way to keep track of everything we do is to join our Patreon. Patreon can be joined for free. You don't get all the content for free, but you get told about all the content for
Yes.
free. So,
And if you want more content, if you want ad-free
yeah.
podcasts and videos, you can subscribe at the $1 a month level.
So,
So,
patreon.com/CosmoQuestX. And with that, I'm going to look and see who is out there to raid.
mhm.
Um, this is always where you guys get to see how many monitors caused me to move my head around. So Astro Canuck is streaming yet again. So we are going to raid Astro Canuck.
Okay, Mythtown. Yes, you can follow me on Blue Sky. I don't promise anything of quality. Uh,
So join us and we will see you later. Life is good. And remember to go out and look up while you can. Folks who have Patreon have already watched the video and understand why I say that. All right.
yep.
Bye bye.
Bye.